Well, hi, Lacey. I'm Adam Scott. I'm part of the CYD. I'm from Toronto, and I'm here at COP16 in the middle of the conference center. Um, yeah, this is my fifth COP actually, so I've been doing this for a really long time. Thanks for your questions. So, in answer to your first question about jobs, about the types of jobs that might be available in the future, if we take the issue of climate change seriously. I think it's really worth pointing out that what we're really advocating here in trying to do something about climate change is to really change our economy away from using fossil fuels. That's the only way we're going to prevent climate change. And in doing that, lots of parts of the economy need dramatic change. And that means lots of jobs and lots of work. So for example, we're going to have to dramatically improve the energy efficiency of pretty much all aspects of our society. So buildings and cars and all these other things. That's a ton of engineering work. That's a ton of manufacturing work. Another good example is renewable energy. In Ontario, for example, we're building huge amounts of solar panels and wind towers and all these things, and they create tons of jobs and opportunity. So there's definitely a huge opportunity, and we may have less jobs in the oil sector, but we'll have many more jobs in other areas. It's also worth pointing out that a greener economy is also more efficient, and therefore we're saving a lot of money that we wouldn't be spending. We're wasting a lot of money in our economy at the moment on gasoline and home heating and all these other things that we're hoping we'll have to spend less money on in the future. Yeah, as for your second question, on the amount of media attention that has been happening here in Cancun, I guess you're comparing it to Copenhagen, and Copenhagen is probably the most famous international United Nations summit in the last 2 decades. And everybody was really hoping that we would get our final international climate treaty at the Copenhagen negotiations. Unfortunately, it didn't quite happen that way, but we're still here and still negotiating. And last year, definitely, I think a big reason why it was so huge and so overblown in the media was there were 120 world leaders there, including President Obama and Stephen Harper and many others. And the media loves to follow the world leaders around. At this meeting, we have lots and lots of environment ministers, but very few heads of state. And that's definitely a big reason for that. So I wouldn't say that there's no coverage here. There's tons of media, and you'll definitely see more of it over the next couple of days. As to your question about what you can be doing outside of COP, I think the best thing you can be doing is what you're doing, which is educating yourself about climate change, about the various ways that it will be solved, and to make sure that other people in your community can learn this as well. Because I think one of the biggest issues about climate change is not enough people really understand what climate change is, what's causing it, and more importantly, what the solutions are. I think a lot of people like to talk about the really negative aspects of climate change, but they don't often understand that there are lots of ways that we could solve it. And I know myself, I've had a huge amount of success, talking to my parents about it, or my friends, or really having a big impact in my own community on it. Okay, as to your last question on whether or not this process has actually had an impact environmentally in a real way, absolutely, I definitely would say it has. Without this international process, which is it's really about peer pressure, I don't think very many countries would have taken such strong action as they already have. And even without a huge legally binding treaty, I think it's safe to say that most of the countries here are desperate to try to come to these negotiations with really strong actions at home that they can show each other. It's definitely very, very much a peer pressure situation. So many countries are coming here with huge climate change plans, huge improvements in energy efficiency, talking about investing in wind farms and new technologies. And on the adaptation side, many countries have offered to help out countries that are having very bad impacts of climate change as well. So the impact of the negotiations is actually quite huge in that respect. And also, I mean, part of the reason we come to these negotiations is to educate people, and it's a really good opportunity to do that. So the negotiations, aside from all the legal and negotiating side, they really serve a really good role in making this issue very visible in public. So I definitely think it's worthwhile that way. So anyway, it's been nice talking to you. Thanks for your questions.